How do schools engage students, staff, and the wider community in their sustainability efforts, and what strategies have been particularly effective in this regard?
Informing and involving is one of the steps of the EcoSchool 7-step framework, and it's one of the most important ones. Is not only a step in itself, but it happens throughout the EcoSchools process, and it's critical to achieving what we call a whole institution approach, or a YAH. Which makes sure that environment and sustainability is embedded throughout not just the curriculum, but everyday practices and interaction with the community. So the inform and involve stage we have as a separate step. It's the point at which you ensure that whatever it is that you have decided as a school to focus on, you are gaining the correct support, sufficient support from the local community to inform the learning that's happening in the school. So you may have a look at what your key challenges are that you've identified, and then look around in the local community amongst parents, grandparents, and really critical here, and even those who may be tradesmen, local experts, and say, what skills and knowledge do you have that you can bring into the school to help to inform the projects and the learning that we're doing on this key challenge? One really important thing to mention here is Indigenous or native local knowledge. That's really important. There's a recognised need for that to come back into education, so that those really important knowledges, cultural traditions aren't lost, but also they often hold the key to sustainable living practices. Also intergenerational knowledge, and I mentioned grandparents already. It's really important that the EcoSchools programme is fostering intergenerational learning. It's a really important part of education in general. So therefore, inviting people into the schools can be really beneficial to enrich the learning happening, but also what inquiry goes on outside of the school, so the students can go into the local community and speak to individuals and ask the right questions, talk even to family members, go and interview people on the street. So suddenly the learning is coming into the school from outside, but also the learning is going on from inside the school outside as well. And there's a couple of really important benefits there. I've already mentioned the enriching of the school curriculum with intergenerational and local knowledge, but also what can the local community learn from the students in the school, so that all of the information that they have access to, that they're learning within their curriculum, they can bring outside of the school as well to inform the wider challenges that are happening. And students gain a lot from involvement in the wider real issues happening in their own communities, and we very often see campaigns being developed, the students getting involved in local issues, local governance even, starting to understand about what their own power as citizens is inside these issues. So there's some really very important processes happening there within that inform and involve step, and this is something that we like to see happening throughout the life of the programme. Finally, the projects that are developed on the school grounds will have involvement from the parents. That means that whatever is established in the school can be replicated at home to address the same challenges that the homes are confronting as the school buildings are. But also that in establishing things like school farms, gardens, the skills that are being learnt inside the school can also be available to the local community. So what we've seen in many cases is schools being becoming really hubs of lifelong learning, that those kinds of green skills are being practiced not just by students on school grounds, but also by the parents and the wider community members. It's essential for keeping these projects going during school holidays, but it's also really, really important potential for development of those lifelong learning skills, and this is an area that we're very interested in at the moment and seeing grow a lot, particularly in response to local climate change challenges.